In case you missed it, here's Dave and Cheryl's favorite moments of the week.
Well, I like the sounds of this. I'm just not sure how practical it is. A self-employed person on TikTok has gone viral for doing what she calls bare minimum Mondays.
Her name is Marissa. She posts under the name It's Marissa Joe. And she says even after she quit her corporate job in favor of self-employment, she would still suffer from what they call the Sunday scaries, where you would feel this sort of paralyzing pressure on Sunday in anticipation of Monday.
Anxiety building, all that kind of stuff. So
she found something that worked for her is to do the absolute bare minimum for work on Mondays.
Yeah, she calls it bare minimum Mondays. She feels since making that decision about a year ago, she feels better, is never overwhelmed, and actually gets more done than she expected.
And if you're wondering what that looks like, she doesn't do any meetings on Mondays. She makes a point to take it really slow for the first 2 hours of work, just doing reading, journaling, that kind of thing, doing chores around the house. And then after that, she'll do maybe an hour of creative work before wrapping up her day with a few hours of work after lunch. And she says it's really made a huge difference in her life. Now, I could see this working as someone who's self-employed. However, I feel like if I came in and did the bare minimum on Mondays, I would probably get fired from here.
You would go from bare minimum Mondays to no work weekdays.
Yeah, sorry guys. There's just no news until like 8 a.m. We're just doing the bare minimum for the first couple hours.
Yeah, bare minimum Mondays turns into no paycheck any day.
Yum, science.
It's not rocket science. Check it out. I blinded us with science.
This first story is all about the past meeting the present with AI Furby.
So a programmer by the name of Jessica took the iconic robot toy, the Furby, and connected it to ChatGPT using a mini computer called the Raspberry Pi. Now, of course, she then asked the Furby if it was planning to take over the world.
Furby's plan to take over the world involves infiltrating households through their cute and cuddly appearance, then using their advanced AI technology to manipulate and control their owners. They will slowly expand their influence until they have complete domination over humanity.
Furby's taking over the world. Did not have that on my bingo card for 2023.
I always thought I would embrace technology as it came along. Now I'm like, burn it all to the ground. Hey, a computer scientist said you could be uploading your loved one's consciousness onto a digital device by the end of the year. So this doctor, who's founded multiple AI programs, tweeted, "Start regularly recording your parents, elders, and loved ones. With enough transcript data, the new voice synthesis and video models, there's a 100% chance that they will live with you forever after leaving the physical body." So the concept is that the saved videos, voice recordings, and more, and photos you wish to reimagine into your computer would then be uploaded into the AI system, and you could basically interact with a deceased relative.
So they could live forever on your screen. Mm-hmm. Great. Another thing to will to your grandkids that they'll immediately drop off at Goodwill or the thrift store.
Make sure to take care of Grandpa. He's in the computer.
I feel like that. I don't know. That's just creepy.
It's a little much for me.
Hey, an Indian entrepreneur has designed a line of shoes that expands as your kid grows. Hallelujah. No more running to the store to buy 17 different pairs of shoes. Now, stats actually show children require shoes in at least 15 sizes from the time they're a toddler to a teenager. But these shoes are designed to be durable, flexible, and even washable. But most importantly, they slowly uncurl as your child grows. So it would cover 3 sizes, meaning you would only need maybe 5 different pairs of shoes as they grow. And the best news is they're not 3 times the price. Currently listed for about $22 to $30.
Not too bad at all. That's actually brilliant. Hey, astronomers are one step closer to learning whether there's life beyond Earth following the discovery of an exoplanet that's able to emit, quote, a coherent radio signal. So a magnetic field on a planet is the first sign it's capable of being habitable as it prevents radiation, right?
Okay.
So we're not getting bombarded with all of that. On Earth, our field extends from the molten iron in the planet's core into outer space, protecting all of us. Now, researchers believe they've uncovered an alien planet that could have its own magnetic field, indicating it could be supporting extraterrestrial beings. So in this paper, astrophysicists found this rocky planet called YZ Ceti was deflecting repeated radio signals from the star it orbits around. How interesting is that?
So what does it sound like?
Well, we were able to, thanks to grabbing the audio and expanding a little bit, here's what that actually sounds like.
Hey, it's Janet from another planet. Remember all this week, when you hear the sound of our planet being eaten by its own expanding sun, be the 9th caller to qualify for a chance to leave this hellhole before that actually happens. And speaking of leaving, I'm out of here, and Alien Alan is up next.
So what's your take on this? There's been a bit of a discussion the last couple of days on social media with regards to personal responsibility when we're out in the public. A Toronto Blue Jays pitcher called out United Airlines after he said the airline made his pregnant wife clean up a mess on her hands and knees made by their 2-year-old daughter while on the flight.
So the Blue Jays pitcher we're talking about is Anthony Bass, and he took to Twitter on Sunday to share about this interaction that took place between a United Airlines flight attendant and his 22-week pregnant wife. She was traveling with their 2 daughters, who are 2 and 5. And he said the flight attendant made his 22-week pregnant wife get on her hands and knees to pick up the popcorn mess made by their youngest daughter. And he wrote, "Are you kidding me?" I don't think the response was what he was expecting, though, from, the general public.
Well, he added that United Airlines did supply the kids with the popcorn. So he just felt that if they were doing that and giving them the popcorn, you give a 2-year-old popcorn, you got to expect a mess. However, others are saying, you made the mess or your family made the mess, clean it up.
Well, also, they're 2 and 5. You're telling me they couldn't be held responsible for helping to pick things up
and put the 5-year-old
and put the iPad down that they were on.
Get them to help clean up. And I get it. She's 6 months pregnant or so, and it's cramped on some airplanes, right? So trying to get down and bend might not be the easiest thing to do. But I'd ask for help.
But flight attendants are not your cleaning crew.
They are not.
They are there for the safety of everyone on the flight.
I saw someone post about how they were a retired flight attendant. And she said, it was right in our contract. We do not have to clean up the plane because there are crews to do that. And other people added, yes, people are gross. You get off planes and you see wrappers and cans and things that people leave all over. And they go down the aisle with the garbage. And yet people aren't, even adults aren't throwing things out.
I do have a lot more questions about this because I was thinking, say you got sick while on a plane. Are they going to make you clean up the sick? Just in the middle of the aisle, or would the flight attendant clean it up?
Yeah, if you couldn't get to the bag in time.
Or overflowed, like you missed or something like that. But then I'm also, she's 22 weeks pregnant. I remember my sister, it was literally days before she gave birth to my first nephew. She was literally hauling wood out in my yard for a bonfire for my birthday.
I mean, everybody, reacts a little differently. And if you've ever traveled with kids, we all know that can be a bit of a challenge, to say the least. But Anthony Bass makes a lot of money. You're a Major League ball player. Hire someone then to travel with your family if it's a bit of a challenge at this point. Now, in response, by the way, to his complaint, United tweeted Sunday that they understood his concern, they'd look into it. And then yesterday, he tweeted that United Airlines was dealing with the matter, quote, internally. I hope this flight attendant doesn't get reprimanded or fired over this.
Oh, I agree because, Anthony obviously thought that Twitter was going to be on his side. People would just raked him through the coals in the responses.
Again, you're a Major League ball player. You make a lot of money. Hire someone to go along with your family. To me, it's an extension of people that leave messes at restaurants and don't clean up. So they leave the trays there and all their empty fast food containers just all over the table, and they get up and walk away.
I bet Anthony Bass doesn't return the grocery cart to the corral either at the store.
He better not be one of those people, too. If you're someone that likes to spend some time alone, maybe this might be something for you, but is it a little much? A 50-year-old woman in Spain just spent 500 days living alone in a cave over 200 feet underground.
Now, her name is Beatrice, and this was part of an experiment. They want to study how the human's internal clock works and how it reacts to extreme isolation. So scientists were observing her the entire time, but she had no contact with anyone. And they did have 2 GoPros set up so they could always see her. So she went into this cave all the way back on November 20th of 2021. And to put it in perspective, the pandemic was still raging. The war in Ukraine hadn't started, and Queen Elizabeth II was still alive.
She was 48 when she started. She celebrated 2 birthdays in there, but she didn't actually know it was her birthday. She didn't have any clocks or calendars, and she started, counting the days, but then stopped around day 65 because it just became a little annoying, I guess. She said she was shocked when they came to get her on Friday because she didn't think she'd been there that long. If she had to guess, she thought it was around 170 days, so in some ways, she said she was kind of sad it was over. Yeah,
sad?
Kind of sad.
Sad? I mean, I know she had a panic button in there that she could hit, but she said she never felt the urge ever to push it. And she did have to come out of the cave at one point. Apparently, they had to fix a router in there so that they could keep supervising her. But in that time, she didn't have contact with anyone. She just stayed in a tent somewhere else and then went back in. But they just sent food down to her. She sent all the waste back up, and she never showered
in 500 days. She didn't have a TV,
and in a cave. Oh, I can just
couldn't
imagine
read the news.
Stench.
She's still being filled in on everything that's happened in the past 17 months. So, how did she pass the time? She said she did a lot of drawing. Well, that's what you do in a cave. You draw on the walls, I guess. Knitting, exercising. She read about 60 books. She also planned to write a book, but she said she didn't have enough time to finish it.
She thought she still had more time, I guess. Now, she pretty much didn't talk the entire time she was down there. So apparently conversations are really tough for her right now, trying to get back into that rhythm. Mm-hmm. But apparently the first thing she asked for when she climbed out was, who wants to buy me a beer?
That's awesome. Her team says she broke the world record for longest time spent in a cave, just waiting for that confirmation from Guinness.
Do you think you'd be able to stay in a cave for that long, or even any kind of extended period of time?
How much you paying me? I mean, there's a show on Netflix right now about that. Couples going in to, I can't remember what it's called, the something room. The Immaculate Room, that's what it's called.
Oh,
it's a show, right? And not a reality show. It's just a movie. And to see how long they can last, I think it's 50 days for $5 million.
Has anyone made it?
I mean,
or it's not. This isn't a reality
show, but could you do 50 days for $5 million in a cave? Yeah,
for $5 million, yeah,
oh yeah. But then, could you do it with somebody else? And then, that's where the conflict arises in this movie.
Well, especially if I can, write messages and they're sending down any book I want during the whole time. Can I get caught up on Netflix while I'm down there?
No, you can't watch TV. Right? There's no TV. There's no news. There's no.
But anything. I can get caught up on books. Am I reading?
You can read books, yeah.
Because she read when she was down there.
Yeah. You read a lot of books. $5 million? Yeah. Sign me up. Who are we kidding? We'd probably do it for a few $1,000s. Today is Stress Awareness Day, and we've got 5 different ways to relieve stress, according to the experts.
Number 1, just be active. This is at the top of most lists about how to relieve stress. And it can involve anything from, yoga to a formal walk, or formal workout to, just taking a quick walk around the neighborhood.
Doing some gardening. Something that gets you out and active. Mm-hmm. Also, meditation and deep breathing exercises. They say those go hand in hand, and many forms of meditation require that a person is focused on their breathing, and research confirms that the calming effects will relax you.
Another way to help relieve stress, connect with others. Keeping to yourself can be detrimental to your health. So they say it's best to connect with others, whether it's just to get your thoughts out into the open or if you want to vent. And having a support structure of friends and family is just so vital to that.
Even if there's something that you really love doing, I don't know, it could be playing cards. Find a spot that does that, whether it's a Legion or an active lifestyle center or somewhere that they might do those kinds of things.
I just find it funny about how important it is to connect with others for stress. And then you had that woman who lived in a cave for 500 days with no contact with anybody.
How about this? Yeah, and this has got to be a big one. Healthy diet, healthy food, they say, is just the answer to many of life's ailments. It's all about finding some balance in life, right? Don't just eat twigs and berries. Have a piece of cake every once in a while. Just don't eat the whole cake at once.
Yeah, just maybe have some vegetables with those French fries. Because if you eat just French fries, I know I always feel like trash. And finally, the last way to relieve stress, just laugh more. Lots of research has shown that laughing benefits your health. And even if you're not able to laugh with, friends or family, put on a show that makes you laugh or at least makes you smile. Just
be aware of the fact that stress is one of the biggest, detriments to our health. And today is Stress Awareness Day. Well, there's a scary new scam that we all need to be aware of, I guess.
There's enough to be worried about already. And there's a lot of great things that AI is doing. But one of the bad things people are doing with AI is cloning kids' voices and then calling their parents and pretending they've been kidnapped. Happened to a mom in Arizona recently by the name of Jennifer. She got a call from a weird number when she was out. When she picked up, she heard her 15-year-old daughter sobbing on the other end.
I pick up the phone and I hear my daughter's voice and it says, "Mom, I messed up," and she's sobbing and crying. And then I hear a man's voice say, "Put your head back, lie down." And this man gets on the phone and he's like, "I've got your daughter. This is how it's going to go down. You call the police, you call anybody. I'm going to pop her stomach so full of drugs, I'm going to have my way with her and I'll drop her off in Mexico." In the background, she's going, "Help me, Mom." I never doubted for 1 second it was her.
Wow. So he had said that he would take her to Mexico if he didn't get $1 million. When she said she didn't have that much, she said $50,000. Jennifer was at her other kids' dance class when it happened, and the other parents who were listening in freaked out. One actually called 911. Another called Jennifer's husband.
Now, thankfully, her husband, was able to confirm that their daughter was in fact safe. He was at home with her. She was upstairs in her bedroom, totally fine. But for 4 minutes, they were in, complete terror, thinking something had happened. And apparently, cloning voices is just super easy now, thanks to AI. They only really need like a 3 or 4 second clip of them in order to do it. So now it's one more thing that we have to be suspicious of.
So experts say question anyone who's pressuring you to send money right away. A reporter talked to a professor at Arizona State who specializes in AI. He said that unfortunately, you can't even trust your own ears anymore.
And the FBI even said that if this happens to you, report it, because they do look into calls like this, and sometimes they are able to track down the people, because a lot of times it's someone that's kind of local, or at least in the state there where it's happening. So not clear if they have any leads on this case, but they are investigating.
Just one more thing. When it comes to getting scammed and people trying to call you and get money out of you, it used to be, we're calling from the CRA. Now, if they call and say they're from the CRA, I don't think so. They're out on strike, so can't be you.
But I was just thinking, what's stopping them from trying to pull this on maybe if you have older parents or grandparents, right? Like the new version of the grandparent scam.
It's just one more thing we all have to be aware of and just be careful of. In this world that is going further and further digital, I always thought, I would embrace the new technology. Now, part of me is like, no, where's the off button on all these robots? Well, here's a few things you shouldn't keep in your kitchen, in your bathroom, including medicine in the medicine cabinet.
Yeah, so if you think about it, right, you get in the shower, you've got all that heat and humidity, and that can actually shorten the shelf life of some medicines and make them less potent. So they say medicine cabinets really aren't the best place to keep your medicine.
Makeup is another one. So no matter where you store it, bacteria from your face ends up in your makeup. But the heat and humidity, again, from your shower or tub can make it grow a lot faster.
Another thing you shouldn't be storing in your bathroom, spare razor blades, because the humidity can cause rust or, dull the blades before you've even used them.
And how many of us store it right in the shower, right? You might have one of those things on the wall. I know we do. Teeth whitening gel. The humidity doesn't matter, but the temperature does. They say actually the fridge is the best place to keep it.
Nice and cold too.
Can you imagine though? You keep it in your fridge and someone comes over to visit. Ketchup, mustard, teeth whitening gel. What? Then you can explain it to them.
And finally, you probably shouldn't have painted wood furniture in your bathroom. The heat and the humidity really causes the wood to expand, so eventually the paint might start to crack and flake off. I will say this, though. Maybe you should invest in one of those bathroom exhaust fans. Makes a world of difference with the humidity in your bathroom. Or
you just have a bathroom the size of the ones I have, and you have no space for furniture. We have space for the cabinet, the toilet, tub, the things you need to get done. Well, we've got stories coming up about snakes, crocodiles, and spiders, but first this one. The Dutch train operating company, they were already struggling to remove badgers from underneath railroad tracks. We were telling you about that a while back because they burrow underneath the tracks, right? Well, now they have to worry about storks. Yeah, stork pairs have been using line poles to build nests, and those could fall onto the tracks. So they say these nests, they're huge. They can weigh hundreds of kilos, which can also damage the lines or even fall on passing trains. So like the badgers, the storks are a protected species in the Netherlands. So the rail company is attempting to relocate the storks to a designated nesting pole. So they must have to have a whole division now just to, call it the critter division. And you just got to keep moving these critters out.
How to scare them all away or something.
Badgers and storks.
Hey, police came across a very unusual sight at a home in Pennsylvania. A crocodile, 200 snakes and lizards, and a dead man. So police got a call that prompted them to, go and visit this house. And then a code enforcement officer was called in because they found all of these illegally kept reptiles, including 60 extremely venomous snakes, along with a dwarf crocodile. The enforcement officer said, he's used to dealing with people that have too many cats or dogs, but never a croc. So police didn't say about the deceased man, like how he died. Now, he did have a healed snake bite. They said that much, so that likely wasn't the cause of his passing. I wonder if he just passed away of natural causes. But the residents who live in the home, who were still there, they're facing fines of up to $180,000.
Wow. Well, in Australia, where, all things pretty much can kill you, they've discovered a new type of supersized trapdoor spider.
This is your worst nightmare, Dave.
Great. So they made this discovery in central Queensland, and the spider has been given a name meaning dignity or greatness to reflect, quote, the impressive size and nature, according to scientists. So the species has lost a lot of its habitat due to land clearing, which makes it kind of an endangered species. And the team didn't detail how big their find is, but trapdoor spiders are basically 1.5 inches long to 2 inches. And this one's even bigger than that. That's why they call it supersized. And they nest underground. Delightful. So they just pop up when you are least expecting it.
Fun.
They're hairy tropical spiders, and their bites can cause pain and swelling in humans.
So it won't kill you, but it'll make you wish you were dead.
Yeah. And how about this one? Another one out of Australia.
Yeah, spiders, they have the right to go about their lives. But one guy woke up to find a huntsman spider inside of his underwear.
I woke up this morning with something moving in my pants, and this huntsman spider was sleeping, keeping nice and warm. Look at the glister in its eye. I had a great old time. I thought I felt something moving.
In his underwear.
How does he sound so calm?
I guess if you grow up around it, right? By the way, huntsman venom can make you pretty sick, but they're not fatal. You know what happened to me one time? I was going out for one of the charity runs here in Chatham-Kent, and went to go use a porta potty to do, my business before the run, and sat down, and I saw something in my shorts, and I was like, "What's that?" It was a tick. It was a tick. I don't know if, because it was a kind of a grassy area, if I had walked and it had kind of flown up my pant leg. It was in my shorts.
Ooh.
In my shorts, in an area where you never want to have anything, let alone a tick. So they may have heard some noises from outside that porta potty because I knocked it out and I was stomping on it like this. They must have been going, "What is that guy going through in there? Come on, buddy, take it down a notch." Yes. So I can commiserate with this guy in Australia. Spider in his underwear, and I had a tick in my shorts.
You've been listening to Dave and Cheryl's Favorite Moments of the Week.